Hello, everybody. This is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I want to give a shout out to our main sponsors, which is Rising Suns, the award-winning brewery in Cork. James, when you get to Cork, I'm going to bring you in there for a few pints, man.
Excellent. That sounds perfect to me, man.
Have a few beers, and Joe as well. Whenever you get down this neck of the woods, Joe.
Very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. So I want to welcome officially James from Hellripper to the show. Nice to have you on board again, James. Been a while.
It's been a while. About, 2 years? I was checking the day. Just over 2 years, I think. Because I came on. Yeah. It was fun last time, so I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. It's been great to watch your progress, dude. I really, really am delighted for you, man. You put in so much work. And I mean, I know it started off as a solo project, but the band you've got around, the tours, everything, it's really kicking off, man. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, the live band, those guys, Joe, Max, and Clarky, the current live band, they're ridiculous musicians and cool guys and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad to have those guys involved in that side of things. And I mean, the goal is just to keep doing what I'm doing and hopefully grow a little bit gradually. So yeah, no complaints here.
No complaints. Like Joe, we'll talk about Gama Bomb, man, and the 20th anniversary tour. Let's bring your mind back to that. You decided to bring Hellripper along for the party.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have James and the lads along. It was great, all crack. And just nice to get around England and Scotland and stuff for a bit of a march around. So, but I think, James, did you say that was the first time you guys did a UK tour of more than a couple of shows, or?
Yeah, that was the first time. Yeah, I can't remember I think we've done a couple of weekenders and stuff, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
But it was the first time we've actually did a proper tour around the UK. And thank you for having us, man. I enjoyed it very much, and the rest of the guys did as well.
Crack. And you know what, man? It's one of the things with heavy metal is some bands it's easy to get on with, and some bands it isn't. And I think we've spoke about this a bit. With a lot of the sort of bands that you guys would play with, your Primordials and stuff. I love the guys; they're nice fellas, but they're very grumpy. You get a lot of grumpy black metal people, So it was nice being able to sit about and talk about Rush and Warfare or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, Max is the big Rush guy. He's absolutely in love with Rush, so you've got no problem there speaking about that. But
he looks exactly like Neil Peart, doesn't he? Like he's the moustache and everything.
I think that's what he's going for, man. But like I said, I mean, the Gama Bomb tour was kind of our first real tour with another band properly. I mean, we've done a couple of years ago. We played a few shows with Black Rats from Canada, but it was only 3 or 4 shows. This was our first proper tour with another band. So, thank you guys for making it being very welcoming and stuff. It was a good time, man.
No problem.
We enjoyed ourselves a lot, man, and it was cool.
Well, hopefully, man, what we can do is next year, because we couldn't get you guys over to Ireland, so maybe what we'll do is try and do an Irish tour in 23 and go and do 3 or 4.
I'd love
to try and do Highlands and Islands tour and go and play. I have a mate who promotes gigs out in the Isle of Skye and stuff. We could go and do that in Isle of Man.
Jesus, I didn't even know there was anything over there.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah, Jesus, because I don't know, does James know it? But I mean, he's got a huge following over in Ireland as well. So. And you have had opportunities, because I remember just talking to you on Instagram a few times, James, where the planets didn't align for you.
Literally every time we've been offered, a promoter guy, a real cool guy, he's offered us, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times. And every time we've had a previous show booked or something. Like the last offer, I think, was October 31st or something. And that was the day we came back from tour. Our travel day, so we couldn't make it over. There was another one as well where we had another festival booked or something. Yeah, it's been 4 or 5 times, I think, that we've literally just not been able to.
Yeah.
Which, I want to get over there, man, as soon as it's possible. I'm like I say, with COVID and stuff, that just delayed everything by 2 years, or a year, everyone's plans kind of. So we would have been over there by now, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's gone Okay. And now we're getting back into the swing of things. Hopefully more.
I was going to say, speaking of James, like, did you find COVID actually ended up being kind of helpful in regard to songwriting and stuff, or how did you find it?
I guess so. I finished the last album right as COVID started.
You did. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think I finished everything in January, and then COVID was like February or March or something, like the everything.
It was kicking in January, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then I kind of the last album was supposed to be released in May, but then we didn't know what was going on and stuff, so we delayed it to October. So I kind of had a year of kind of a rest, really. I was writing and stuff, so that was cool. It did give me time to write stuff. Yeah, I did. I think I probably did make better progress because of the break than I usually would. But yeah, there was the advantages and disadvantages, I guess.
Yeah. Like, you're doing this full time, James.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that kind of really started. For real, when the last album came out, that was kind of. I mean, I've been doing it full time since 2019, since the last EP came out, but it kind of went up a gear with the last album. So.
Yeah, I mean, getting onto Peaceful is a huge plus straight away.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff helped a little bit. So, yeah. Yeah, I think there's disadvantages and the advantages to it. Yeah, I got a break and I could do all that stuff. And then, obviously, the disadvantages, every tour got cancelled. No one had any idea what was happening. And then the final...
Part of the kind of good thing, though, man, was that you nearly had a captive audience to listen to The Affair of the Poisons, because maybe if there had been a whole bunch of other bigger records out then, it wouldn't have been as easy to get people's ear. And you definitely, you must have grown the listenership by 3 at least over lockdown,
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I think with that, just because I finished right before the lockdown, my album could come out with not much delays. I think it was kind of after, it was 2021 is when there was all the mad delays, with the vinyl production and all that. There was all the albums have been delayed a year or whatever, or maybe towards the end of 2020. I was lucky that I think everything had been done and manufactured just before it all kind of went to shit, really. But yeah, because you guys released the EP during lockdown as well.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a bummer for us, man, because we tried to get it pressed on physical and we couldn't.
Impossible.
We we can do it on CD, and we just thought, I'd rather just do it digitally than have it only on CD,
Yeah, was that because of delays and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, they were just the waiting line was just absolutely insane, and it was all kind of related to, remember the Suez Canal and the big queue to go through, all the wax that they made the vinyl, no matter what vinyl plant in the world, all the wax came from Indonesia or whatever, so... and it's still a pain in the ass. When we're talking to our label now, they're saying, yeah, well, if you hand your album in, it might be able to come out, in 8 months' time, kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I think we were looking at a 6 or 7 month turnaround time. Yeah. So February for the next one, and it was done in July.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So what's that? 5, 6, 7 months. But I mean, that's over Christmas as well, so I don't know if that affects things with things being closed and stuff. But
isn't it mental as well that, say, your two bands is just now more or less the big priority is to get the vinyl in line and get it out there. It says a lot like that. It's just fucking gone on its head, the whole scene, because who would have thought that vinyl would have made such a comeback, and not only make a comeback, that it's really, really fucking important for a band to have vinyl now. It's a head scratcher for me.
I mean, I was for me it was kind of strange because getting into the scene, I came way after vinyl.
Of course you did, yeah.
So I came I used to collect cassettes and stuff, and then in the early 2000s, then CDs, and I didn't really have any experience with vinyl or anything. And then as you get into the metal scene, it was 2010 or something like that, vinyl was becoming a bit more prominent and stuff, and people were when I started Hellripper and previous bands, people were like, "Oh, you should press vinyl and stuff," and I was like, "Okay, is vinyl a big thing?" Like,
yeah,
and yeah, it is, and vinyl's really important for metal bands. I'm sure Joe agrees. Like, that's the biggest seller for
It's a
anything.
weird one as well, James, because like, see if you think of like someone who would be a huge influence for you guys, like some of the like black and thrash bands of the 80s, or even like bands like Onslaught, Power from Hell. They might only press like 10 or 15,000 copies of those records on vinyl back in the day, you know? So you kind of get into a situation where, you know, records that me and Richie would have taken for granted now are going for like 40 or 50 bucks online, you know? Which is crazy, you know?
Yeah, I was a bit gutted because I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one or not, but I've said it a few times before. Like, I kind of was made aware of like metal when I was a kid, when my uncle had a bunch of.
That's right, your uncle, yeah,
he had a bunch of LPs like from the 70s or 80s or something, and I kind of looked at the artwork and stuff when I was a kid and thought, oh, that's cool, and that kind of made me aware of like metal and stuff. And just recently, I got my mum to take up the LPs, take them to my house, and so I could finally have them. And I was just looking through them.
Ah, that's nice, man.
And there's like all these cool, like so much cool ones. There's like old Aussie ones, like Discharge singles and stuff. Like, I'm not like a vinyl expert, but I think these would be maybe close to like original pressings and stuff. But they're all in such bad condition because they were just.
Of course they are, man. Because we actually played them.
Exactly, yeah. Like the sleeves are all just like just torn apart and stuff like that, and a lot of them had to basically just be chucked because they were scratched and ruined, unplayable and stuff. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of cool stuff there, like live Black Sabbath albums with Dio and loads of Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy, The Damned, Discharge, all that kind of stuff, and. Yeah, and like you were saying, Joe, kind of similar. Like, some bands would only have a few vinyl presses. There's a lot of bands in the 2000s that I'm not sure about Gama Bomb, but didn't even have vinyl presses for albums.
Yeah, like, probably like the kind of generation of before us of bands, like I don't know, like even from the like late 90s, early 2000s, like The Haunted, Made Me Do It, those kind of records, I don't know if they would have come out on vinyl. Like, all of our stuff did come out on vinyl, thankfully, but it's also because we have a bad relationship with Eric, kind of, you know, they only pressed 1,000 copies of some of the records on vinyl, and, you know, they're out of print and they're not going to reprint them and stuff. So it is a pain in the butt, but you also have to kind of, you know, this is going to sound bitchy from me saying this, but again, me and Richie kind of grew up in an era where, you know, if people were walking 20 miles to the next town to hear, you know, Primeval by Venom, you know, and it was hard to get hold of music generally. So I think that if someone really, really, really cared about like Hellripper or whatever, they'd be able to go and buy your first demo on eBay, or, you know, get it somewhere, you know. And I think it's because music, a lot of the time for people now, they get it for free. They don't really associate having to part big bucks or anything for it, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even like, I remember when I was younger, like even the prices for stuff, like, because I was used to like all the downloads and stuff with LimeWire and all that, and I still collected CDs like when I was younger, like whenever I'd get a little bit of money and stuff from my parents. And I remember like I used to always get like singles, like, remember those little CD singles that would have like 3 songs on them or something. I used to get them because they were like two or three quid or something. I remember getting like my first album and it was like 24 quid or something on CD, and I was like, wow, this is extreme. Like,
Metallica used to release a few of those CD singles. I think I have a few of them.
I used to have loads, but I think I lost them all and stuff in like moving house and just over the years. Like, I've got a few of them. I found an Oasis one from a while ago recently.
I've got a really cool Therapy Trouble Gum cassette single, and it's in a kind of lovely green punk with a pink was a kind of, what's that kind of fucking needle?
That was a big deal. I remember getting this single for Seasons in the Abyss, and it came in a blood pack. But it was like, you know, and it's still sitting up in the cupboard somewhere. All the blood has since dried many years ago. But you know, so like James, tell me this before we start talking about like new album stuff. What's your Slayer cutoff point? Are you a guy who loves all Slayer or just old Slayer? Or
yeah, I like all Slayer really. I guess. See, again, maybe it's just because of like when I grew up. When I grew up, I got into Slayer. Like World Painted Blood came out.
Yep.
Okay. So that was kind of my
entry point.
Not entry point. I think I heard like the other Slayer beforehand, but when I was new into metal, I didn't really I couldn't really like tell the difference or whatever. So I was okay with new stuff. I'm okay with old stuff. Like I wasn't like an expert in like Rain and Blood or Show No Mercy. So World Painted Blood just sounded like cool thrash to me.
Yeah, I think that's something people forget is that like a lot of times when you get bands' discographies when you're a kid, you're not really getting them in order. You know, you're just buying random records and seeing which ones you like or don't like, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, like when I got into metal, it was like just, there was so much stuff out by then. So it was just whatever you could find on YouTube or whatever would come on the music channels like Kerrang or Scuzz or something like that. Or whatever you could find online and stuff. And I wasn't really caring what album it was. It was like, here's Metallica, here's Gama Bomb, here's Warbringer, all this kind of stuff. Just I'd listen to whatever, and I didn't really know if like bands were like legendary or if they were newer, or it was just music to me. Like at the top, like I mean, it still is, but I guess maybe that helped not have any like prejudices against. Oh, this band's new. I'm not going to listen to them or whatever. Like a lot of people.
Yeah, like we all went through it. Really, it's just that you had more accessibility to it than the likes of myself and Joe, who literally had to go search for it and then find it and then understand that holy shit, there's a whole 8 or 9 years previous to this that we can't get hold of, but we will try somewhere down the line, and you will encounter it eventually. Like, but. Yeah, so it's probably it was way easier for you, James, to land on that and go left or right. With old or new, you know, whereas myself and Joe were just fucking struggling.
Yeah, I remember
I remember. I was going to say I remember meeting a friend of mine's big brother in the local chip shop to find out the names of the guys in Metallica, because I had copied the cassette tapes.
The cassettes,
same as you're talking about. I had Ride the Lightning and Load, and I was like, this is the same band. But I had to go down and meet him, and he was all like, and it's Kirk Hammett's name is not the same as Kurt Cobain's name. All right, so just in case, whenever you're 13, that's important in case someone starts ripping you out at some party saying you don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I would just go on YouTube, and if I saw a band, I would just like type them in online, and I would get I could see all their albums and stuff. But I did miss the when I was younger. I mean, maybe I've got a completely like wrong memory and stuff, but I liked it when I didn't know, you couldn't know anything about the band. Like they were just like, there was no way to find out anything about the band unless you knew someone with the knowledge and stuff, or something like that. So that was cool. Like all these bands that were mysterious or scary, like mythical.
We'll say now, James, because like you are in a really good position insofar as we'll say the likes of Banger TV now will get in contact with you. What was that? Black and Roll Essential Bands.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Jesus, that was a really great
thank you.
Publicity for you, and you came across really well. But like, did you suddenly kind of go, holy shit, I have to actually study this and get my stuff together?
It was a bit, I mean, black and roll and black thrash is kind of like the style that I know best. So, I mean, I everything that I spoke about, like I knew, like I wasn't like randomly picking off facts and stuff. But I did have to like look up a bit like dates and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not the best with that kind of stuff. Like I listen to bands and I'm big fans of bands, but even sometimes I can't even remember the name of songs and stuff. Like I just listen to the music of some bands. So it was like, when I was going through, I was like, I've got to try to put together like a timeline and stuff when these bands were around and see any correlations. Oh, look, this sound was more German sounding, like in this time period or whatever. But yeah, that was a fun one. It made me kind of look at bands that I hadn't listened to in ages as well.
But it's a huge acknowledgement as well to be on that show.
Oh yeah, it was cool to be part of that, and just kind of, I learned stuff as well from other people, like people in the chat and telling me bands that I never heard of and stuff like that. So that was a fun one. Yeah, it was just it was really nice of them to get me on, and yeah.
And I was just saying to James, when I was at Damnation Festival over in Manchester, I was just texting James going, fucking hell, the amount of Hellripper t-shirts over the 2 days is fucking insane. Like,
that's cool to hear, man. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that's repping the goat.
But again, that's down to you as well, man. I mean, it's the hard work you put into it and the product as well. Like, you know,
dude, take a look right behind where James is sitting, and you'll see.
Yeah.
The post office is open.
But I mean, this is my point. It's not fluke that you're doing this and getting this popular in relation to even with merch. It's the hard work you put into it, James, and it's the personal touch as well, because I've seen lots of we'll say Facebook posts of you talking to people about the t-shirts, and you know, you had to set up a US store as well. Maybe just talk through that in relation to how did you actually, you know, formulate a plan to get this right straight away. Merch.
The merch. It kind of, I mean, straight away, it just kind of, it was like a gradual thing, I guess. I never really had any plans at the start with Hellripper. Like, it was just a release an EP and see how it goes. And then it kind of, more things happened, more people got interested. Someone asked for like t-shirts or something. So I pressed, I printed like 25 t-shirts of the first EP or something like that. And then it kind of went from there. Someone wanted tapes, someone wanted CDs, different t-shirt designs and stuff like that. And yeah, just over it. I'm glad it's just became like I say, a gradual thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really noticed any extreme changes that I've needed to make. It's just kind of, if it was like an overnight thing where I sold one t-shirt and then I was up to like 1 million t-shirts, it would be a bit more difficult, a bit more drastic changes and stuff. But I love t-shirts. I love artwork, like metal artwork and stuff. So I love getting new artwork. I love putting out new designs and stuff like that. And
I have to say, though, man, I think that you guys have probably one of the most killer like t-shirt designs going, really. You know, outside of the kind of the Venom Motorhead lineage, I think that is it like Soldiers of Hell that you guys have worked with in the past, like for doing some of the designs?
No, I've worked with so many guys. That's the good thing about the like getting t-shirts as well. You can work with loads of artists that you like. But no,
I think the classic stuff looks so cool. Like your t-shirts look like exactly like 80s t-shirts should look, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really take credit for that. That's all down to the artists and stuff. Like usually I have no real, like 9 times out of 10, I don't really have an input. I'm just like, you've got cool artwork. Do you want to do something for Hellripper? Sometimes I've got an idea, but even then, usually it's like give them free reign, because I think most artists are best when they're just doing what they want to do. So I just
think so, man. Like I've definitely had. I remember a couple of albums ago, we spent the entire budget, and like the budget was actually pretty big for artwork. Unlike getting 2 different front covers on that no one in the band liked, you know. And like after the whole process, we're all kind of sitting there being all like, well, we don't have any money left, and you know, we have to get a cover together somehow or whatever, like, you know. But I think it goes to show, like, sometimes it's better. Like your situation, you only ever have to agree with yourself what's a good idea, you know.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I can't imagine arguing with five views.
It's even worse, man. There's only like 4 of us now, so like every argument we ever have always ends in deadlock, you know.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, again, both of you like have iconic t-shirts, and I mean, you know, you're just so used to the Gama Bomb quality T-shirt. It's a given. And just saying with James as well, like that's the level you're at now with your T-shirts. I mean, it's fantastic to see that.
Yeah, I'm
it's
glad
really taken off.
Yeah, I'm glad you like them, and yeah, people seem to like them. Yeah, it's just cool. Yeah, it was like, I don't know if I told Joe or if it was Philly that I told, like back in like whatever year I had like the Hammer Slammer T-shirt. I think it was Philly I told, and he said like that was a limited, well, not limited, but there wasn't much of them or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, and they're probably pretty oldie at this stage, man. But, I think that fucking you guys do an absolutely killer job with the merch, and that's like it's an easy appeal, I think, for like a whole broad spectrum of metalers, like outside of like black metal or black and roll or thrash. Yeah. The T-shirts just kind of look, it's kind of same vibe as, you know, the Run DMC or Public Enemy T-shirts. Like it's nearly a classic style of image, look, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Hellripper Scotland T-shirt. I mean, clearly that's obviously the Motorhead, the one I'm wearing right now. Which obviously I've got the Gama Bomb one as well, so I've got the 3. Just need a Welsh one now. But yeah, a lot of the times I like to do like these like tribute parody type shirts. Like
nostalgia is such a big thing with us metalheads, though.
Yeah.
We're fucking
exactly. It's
so easily taken in and all that. Like,
yeah, I know. I enjoy it as well when I see these like tribute T-shirts like with that a band does. I think it's cool. Yeah, but yeah.
Speaking of which, I've got one coming out. I've showed it to Joe, but it's yet to be
secret.
Yeah. It's good though, Joe, isn't it?
It is class.
Yeah.
James, I was going to ask you though, have you ever thought of the Goat making an Eddie style appearance on stage or like in videos, or is it just a kind of a Venom-y Motorhead thing where it just exists on the album cover or T-shirt?
Sometimes, I mean, I don't know if it happened at the Gama. No, did we have the Goat mask on the Gama Bomb tour? I can't remember. But the past couple shows, not the European ones, but in the UK at least, we bring the Goat mask like as to put on like to model the merch. Like, so we've got like a little mannequin thing.
Oh, cool.
And we've got a goat mask that kind of goes on that, like just for that. And usually people get pissed and we give them the goat mask. And there's a few photos and stuff on Instagram. We've had a few people that jump on stage with the mask on and
the job
do whatever. Yeah, just cause havoc. So that's that's kind of the appearance. I mean, it depends on what I do. Like, I don't like to take stuff really seriously. That's why the music's serious, but like myself and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not. Yeah, I try and put myself in the band as much as I can. I'm not an evil
warlock
black metal guy. So like, I'm not going to try and do that. Otherwise, it'd be unnatural for me. Like, I don't have a character. What do you call it? Like a stage name or costumes and stuff. I think for me, it's just not natural for me. So
I think the goat just works as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's a funny, it's a funny thing. It's a goat.
What about, so we're still on the merch side of things there, because I just wanted to know, because a few bands had trouble bringing your merch across to Europe and selling it. Had you any problems with that? We
never brought any merch to Europe. We got it printed in Europe. So I brought a few things. I brought a few things like CDs and stuff, but I think you're allowed a certain amount, a certain value of stuff you're allowed to take over.
Were you checked, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Well, in the security, they checked the bags and stuff, but they never said anything.
Okay.
I brought over a bunch of CDs.
And you collected your merch then while you were on tour in Europe then, is it?
Yeah, so we got our stuff in, sent to our tour manager guy. We got sent to him just before the tour, and then later on we picked up some more. And then actually, I got, I thought I'll try and get some of the leftovers sent to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a fucking nightmare. That was the customs there was the customs. So that's not bringing it over, but that's the postage, which I knew from sending my merch to people. I knew the customs was a was a bit annoying there. So I kind of expected that to happen. But yeah, as far as getting over the border, I think as long as you've got under the certain value of stuff, you're allowed over. But obviously, I think the value is like £1,000 or €1,000 or something.
Right.
So obviously that adds up quickly if you've got
of course,
vinyl. And I mean, how much? Yeah, vinyl. You could take like 100 vinyl, and that's you like at the threshold already. So I haven't tried. Maybe you would get over. I've got no idea.
The carousing in fucking Centaur with Spectral Wound. Yeah. How did you go to Europe? Did you get a van and go across in a ferry, or
so our first show was in Portugal. So we got a flight to Portugal.
Okay.
And then we got a flight to Germany. Right. So our next show was in Austria. So it was like 2 flights there, and that was probably the most tiring part, because we played at like midnight or something for the festival, and then our flight was at 6 a.m. or something like that.
Okay.
So we never got any sleep at all for the first 2 dates, that was horrible. A horrible way to start off the tour, starting off already fucked. But so we got a couple flights, and then we met the tour manager, and the other driver was in Germany, picked us up in the van at the airport, and then just went from there. There was no trouble as far as I can remember, like any borders or any stuff. I was kind of worried about the merch and getting our instruments checked or whatever, like missing a rule or something. I don't know, but it all seemed to go fine.
That's great to hear, isn't it, Joe? Because stuff like that could make or break a band very fast.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a problem for a lot of bands going from like England over to Europe and stuff that can get stopped. But it's generally as ferries and stuff. I think if you're flying, it's not a problem. And once you're in Europe, no one's going to really bother you country to country, apart from having to pay tolls or etc. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's one of those weird situations. I don't know what you think about Scotland yourself, man, but I could definitely foresee a future where Scotland ends up back in the EU, sooner rather than later. So
I'd hope so.
I think a lot of people would like that, especially bands that I know from Scotland.
Yeah, man. I think almost every band, even in England, would like to be back in the EU. If it would be, everything would be much smoother, much easier if we were still in the EU. There was I was a bit stressed out just before the tour, just thinking do I need any documents? Do I need any whatever? What do I need to do? If I've missed something, will I not get into a certain country or whatever? But
I think that a lot of the problems stem from from what I heard anyway, with God is an Astronaut, they were filling me in on it, is if you're a UK band and you're leaving via ferry to get into France, that's where you'll probably hit trouble with customs there.
Yeah. Well, we're going over. I mean, I go over anyway every summer to France, but we've got a few things next summer, so we'll be going over on the ferry. So we'll see what happens then. If I'm 50 grand out of pocket or not. We'll see. I think as long as you've got the carnet and all that kind of stuff, I think it's okay. I think it's just more time consuming and paperwork and all that.
Of course,
stuff, the main thing.
It is crazy to think about it, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it's an unfortunate situation. I remember Bruce Dickinson saying that nobody was going to have any problems and stuff. And you're like, this is coming from a guy who's never had to queue up for security, or had to do anything. He just flies the plane to a country and he's like, why would anyone else have any problems? But sad, man. But I would hopefully anyway, man, it'll end up in a situation where more bands will be able to come over, especially Scottish bands and stuff, come over to Ireland or, but who knows? It's a weird one, because I think you guys are a lot like us. There are notable Scottish metal bands through the years and stuff, but And like sometimes geography can be an issue. Like it's not as much now for bands in our generation, but definitely in the 90s and the 80s, it was a lot more difficult for bands in Ireland and Scotland to make a mark or break out, you know?
Yeah. I think with the internet, it's just made it. I mean, for me especially, I mean, I was not really involved in any scenes or anything when I first started out.
That, yeah. Aberdeen, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, I just kind of joined the scene just as I was kind of starting Hellripper, and even then, the scene in Aberdeen was kind of small, and it's not like the Glasgow or Edinburgh one where there's a million.
You came from a punk kind of background, dude. You played in punk bands for quite a while, didn't you?
Yeah, so there was a big punk scene in Aberdeen, and there was always shows coming to Aberdeen, like touring bands. I saw like underground UK bands. There was like Infernal Sea and stuff. They would come to Aberdeen. So there was a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, there was a big punk scene when I was coming into the scene. But the punk and metal scene was kind of one thing.
Is this like around 2010 or 9 or around that kind of time, man? Or what age?
Oh no, this would be like 2014.
Okay.
He's young, Joe. He's very young.
So it was like, or 13, I can't remember so whenever I was like 18 or something, because there was a lot of the shows were in like pubs that I couldn't get into because I was underage. So when I turned 18, then I could go to more shows and get involved with stuff. And then, it was like a couple of years later, like the main venue kind of closed down. So a lot of gigs stopped. I'm up in the Highlands now, so I don't really know how it is in Aberdeen, but I know a lot of the venues have like closed or stopped doing shows, and a lot of my friends that were in bands and stuff, all the bands have just kind of stopped. I think with COVID as well, when you couldn't even travel to do a show, like so I think over like lockdown and stuff, people just kind of stopped.
But you can hear that punk elements in your music, James, which is what I love as well.
Oh yeah, I'm a massive punk fan. Yeah, it's just I was into like punk stuff before I got into metal, and then I've gradually got more into metal. But yeah, I'm still a massive punk fan, and yeah, I love a good D beat, and
it bleeds through the music. So like, you've got good news as well. That's why you're on the show, man. You've an announcement to make. So over to you.
Yeah, we've got a new album coming out. Warlocks Grim and Withered Hags. That'll be out on February 17th. On
Peaceville.
On Peaceville. Fingers crossed. February 17th. That's what I'm saying right now. It's looking forward to it, getting it out there. I think it's a bit different to the previous stuff, a bit more diverse, maybe.
I would say that,
yeah, 8 tracks, and a bit longer. I think it's 43 minutes or something running time. So there's a bit more stuff going on structure wise.
All
stuff.
Killer, no filler, James.
Yeah, I mean, I like to keep it 8 tracks. I think no matter what, have I done more? I think with the first album, I tried to do 10 tracks. I really wanted 10 tracks, but like there were 2 songs that were just shit. So I was like, and I kept trying to like make it 10 tracks, and there was always 2 songs that just weren't fitting. So I was like, right, 8 tracks seems to be my sweet spot. So I've kind of stuck with that so far. But yeah.
Well, dude, it worked for Metallica back in the day, man, didn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to getting that out there finally, after 2.5 years it'll be. Yeah.
Man, it is like, I had it on today. You're going to laugh at this, and thanks for sending it on to me, man. But so I was heading into work, depressed out of my mind this morning, and I had it on, and you wouldn't believe it was just fucking torrential rain. The roads were fucking flooded. I couldn't actually see the actual road. It was just this river in front of me, and it was just like, it was 6:30 in the morning. So it was just pure darkness. And next minute, it was just this full lightning storm. And here I am listening to Goat Vomit Nightmare. I'm just going, this is so perfect. Like,
yeah, got to keep it up with some suitable metal song titles.
Yeah. But did you have a chance to listen to it, Joe?
I was going to say, James, man, like really, the guitar playing on it is really killer, man. Like I thought that it was very, very way beyond the kind of Venomy, kind of early Destruction kind of vibe that might have been on some of the earlier stuff. So definitely hats off to you, man. Like I think, and as you said, very diverse. The title track was an absolute performer. It was great, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I thought, this one's definitely more like guitar centered, even though the other ones are guitar centered. I think there's even more guitar focus this time around, which I don't know if maybe it was intentional. I've got no idea. I guess not if I've got no idea, but yeah.
And is there any guest appearances on it, James?
So I've got so my girlfriend does a couple of guest vocal bits, usually the Slayer screams.
Yes.
And I've got Joseph, the live guitarist of Hellripper. He does 3 solos, I think it is.
Okay.
Which were really cool. He's got a completely different style to me. He's much better at guitar than me, especially the lead side of things. So he did Spectres and Vampire's Grave in the previous one. Okay. So he's got a total different style to me, and it makes things a little bit different. And they sound cool. His guitar solos are ridiculous. There was one that's like, I think he said it was like Queen influenced or something. And then there was one that was like Van Halen influenced, I think, which I would never think to do. That's not my style. So that was cool to get someone different to do.
And did you record it and mix it yourself?
Sorry, go on ahead, Ricky. Go on ahead, Richie.
Did you record it and mix it yourself?
Yeah, so again, it was just done the same as usual here.
Nice.
In this room, and I think Joseph just recorded his guitars in at his house as well and sent on the tracks to me. And then it was mixed from there, and then it was sent off to Damien Herring. From Horrendous.
Okay, so Brad Boat did the last one, didn't he?
He did the last one. Yeah, Damien done the first one.
Okay.
Which was cool. And then I thought, I wanted to. I just thought I'd get back with Damien again. I don't know why. It just felt like it'd be a cool idea to get him involved again. I was really happy with what he'd done with the first album. I was really happy what Brad did with the last album as well. But just thought I'd get in touch with Damien again. It'd been 5 years or something since I worked with him, so I thought, the
guitar sound was killer, man. That's what I was going to say. Is it's such a riff fest, when the guitars are just super. I don't know, I think it's got that kind of same style as Megadeth, not in terms of the musical style, but that the riffs are a lot of the time just as impressive as the solos, and
cool.
A lot of the kind of intros and stuff like that always come in with something killer where you're like, wow, this is really interesting,
Thank you, man. There was a couple bits that are directly kind of Megadeth ideas. What was it, the first the intro to, I think it's the second track, I the Deceiver. It's like a slow thing, a kind of slow intro, and then there's guitar leads kind of going over it. That was kind of taken from Peace Sells, which is one of my favorite albums. So it's songs like Good Morning Black Friday or
class,
Bad Omen.
That. Where it's crazy guitar solos over just as an intro. There's a lot of.
There's a brilliant solo as well in The Cursed Carrion Crown.
Yeah, so I done the first one on that, and then the second one was Joseph, which was his one's a extreme.
Fantastic.
His one's crazy on that one. His is fast. That's another one. There's a huge Megadeth kind of influence on that solo as well, actually.
My favorite one, if you're interested to know at the moment, and I think it's by far the best track you've actually wrote, is Mr. Storm Worm.
Stormworm. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's
fucking hell, James. That's incredible.
Thank you, man. Yeah, that's a bit different. That's a bit different to what I've usually done. There's about 40 versions of that song because there's so many parts. I didn't know. I could.
It's so ambitious out of you to do that and end it on that track.
That was
an amazing finale. A really
good. Oh, thanks, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff in there. it's not kind of just straight black thrash and stuff. There's like
No, far from it.
like black metal kind of stuff. There's like Watain kind of riffs and Agalock.
Yes, there is a Gallock, yeah.
Yeah, like the very last part, I was listening to a lot of Agalock.
That's nice to hear.
What else? Yeah, I was listening to a lot of like the Swedish stuff, like Edge of Sanity, Opeth, Witherscape, kind of that style of stuff. Catatonia. That was like one of the middle bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. It was a fun one. It was a difficult one to kind of record. There's a lot of layers and stuff.
I was going to ask you about that, man. Like, no, if you were in an ideal world and you could be like, you know, Iron Maiden and go to the Bahamas to make a record for 4 months, would you ideally like to have the rest of the guys there, or do you feel it's like if you can go away and just work on it yourself and like, you know, try and just do 60 hours in the dark on your own, would you rather do it that way?
Yeah,
or do you think
probably.
That, like,
yeah, I think
the thing
probably.
is, like, I was going to say, like, a lot of the time, if you're only doing it with yourself, you're never arguing with people, and you're always able to just put in the exact amount of work that you think.
Yeah. Well, I am arguing with myself a lot of the time. There is points where I'm like, oh, this sounds shit. Oh, I don't know if this sounds like, you get like tunnel vision, and that's why I've got like my girlfriend. She helps a lot. Like, I'm always like, I've recorded this. What do you think of this? Yeah. And sometimes it's like really trivial, like stupid stuff. I'm like, okay, here's like 5 vocal takes. What do you think's the best one? And they all sound the exact same. And and I'm like, oh no, but listen, one track, take 2, like at the end, I go slightly higher for like 3 milliseconds and stuff like that. And they're like,
there's a lot of brilliant music over the years, like ELO or Tears for Fears, or like a whole bunch of bands or even the Beach Boys and stuff, where it was like it is a band and it's a concept and an idea, but it also requires one person to go into a dark room for 6 months or a year to make it happen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I enjoy doing. It's like my main hobby. It's like what I do in my spare time, like, and and I don't, and it takes, I'm always like so picky and stuff. So that's why it takes so long to record, because I'm just, I mean, maybe if I had like a deadline, maybe I would get it done and stuff. But because I've got no deadline, I like to take ages.
So could you see yourself, man, like if the band got like 60 times bigger and were like Metallica, it taking you 10 years to make a record on an island somewhere or whatever?
I don't think it would take 10 years. I think it would, I mean, who knows? But nah. I think it's within reason. I mean, for the most part, it's just me being like picky at the end. I think most of it was finished like in 2021. Like, it was finished ages ago. It was just little bits to kind of clean up. And with the vinyl delay and maybe no touring and stuff, I think that kind of made me think, well, I'll just keep working on it. You know, like, if I put it out now, I might not get to tour. It might not come out for a year. Like, I might as well just keep working on it for another few months and stuff. Maybe.
Would you say there's a big difference though between the 2021 version of the record and the 2023 version of the record?
Yeah, a couple different tracks, I think. It was kind of, I had another track, so it was I can't remember I don't think I wrote lyrics for it actually. So I recorded the instruments for it, and it was like coming up to the end of like recording, and I just wasn't happy with it at all. Like, really, I was like, this is going to ruin the album for me. Like, if I don't like the song, or if I'm like 50% happy with the song, I'm not going to be happy. And I'd like kind of booked everything, and everything was like ready to go, like ready to, like, I'd booked in the kind of mastering, and I'd kind of gave myself a deadline, like, I will hand in the album on this date and stuff. So I basically just like wrote a completely new track very quickly that became one of my favorites on the album.
Which one was that, James?
So that was Goat Vomit Nightmare.
Okay.
So I wrote that. It was like kind of half written. As I finished the other one, I was like, okay, I'll save it for like the next album or something. Like, I'll finish it later. But then I really didn't like that track, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to finish it now. Like, and I think having like the kind of deadline there as well kind of made me finish it, because the other ones took ages to finish.
Yeah.
And if it was up to me, it would have taken ages. But yeah, so yeah, that's became one of my favorite ones on the album as well. So,
And what's the hardest thing for you, James? The vocals or the drums?
the vocal. I mean, the drums can just get like stuck in easily, but the vocals, that just takes a toll like on me.
Yeah.
Like if I'm ill or something, sometimes I'm out for a couple of weeks. Like I can't do it, and especially because I do like so many takes and stuff, I'm so picky. Sometimes I like ruin my voice doing like one line or something, and then that's that's the.
Is that a worry then when you're touring as well?
A little bit, yeah, getting sick and stuff, or yeah, it's a bit stressful. Like just some thinking like, oh, I wonder what will my voice do tonight. Will I be okay? But I mean, it's been relatively okay so far.
Is there any tour tricks, Joe, that you can advise James with there in protecting the voice?
I think Philly was talking to James about this on tour, and like I think part of it is just trying to take it easy on yourself a little bit, or a lot of the time what happens, especially when I've hurt my voice in the past or Philly had, was if you have a bad PA and you can't hear yourself, you nearly try and just shout your way through it, and you can't do it. You have to either assume that people can hear you, or even if you can't hear yourself, but it's just so hard to do, man.
Yeah, that was a couple of the shows on the tour, or one or two, I can't remember which ones, but yeah, the sound was a bit weird. So I remember like kind of messing up my throat because I changed my technique or something to like compensate for like not hearing or whatever. But yeah, Philly was really helpful. Philly was like telling me a bunch of shit to do and giving me tips.
It is hard, man, because this is like Philly giving you advice. We were on tour and went to some bar in Hamburg at like 3 a.m, and he lost his voice singing Tom Jones songs.
I remember you said.
So it's like you're never going to be able to counter for your want to go and have fun. Like so. Yeah, of course. The thing is, and the kind of style you have, if you forgive me for saying so, it's kind of, you want it to sound like you're hurting your voice, but not actually hurt your voice.
That is the aim. That is the aim, indeed. Yeah, but yeah, I guess it's as well. I guess maybe it'll come with more like experience as well. I mean, like I said, that was like our first real tour, so we had never really done, what was it, 7 shows we did, or 8 shows in a row. I'd never done that before. I think the most we've done is, let's see, 12. I think we've only done like 3 in a row, like at most. And even then,
17 there only lately.
17 in a row, yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of like beforehand, I was like, oh, I wonder how this will go. But yeah, it seemed to go fine. But yeah, I mean, we haven't played much shows in general, and especially we had like again, coming back to the COVID, we had a 2-year break kind of playing live shows. So like I never really done anything with vocals for like 2 years really, other than occasionally recording the album, which it's like in a controlled environment. You can do 2 lines per day if you want. You can give your voice a rest and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just kind of, I guess, like it'll come with experience, I guess. And
yeah, out of all the new songs, James, is there any ones in particular that won't make it to a live venue?
I'm not sure. I haven't. We've got 4 that we're going to put in.
Okay, cool.
To start with, or try to put in, see how they go. But I'm keen for giving them all a go if they can be done. It just depends. Like, we'll see what happens with, if people like the songs, if the songs kind of translate well to a live setting as well, because
that's the key, isn't it? Yeah, it's just
especially with this new album where there's a bunch of layering and stuff. I mean, we'll make it work, of course, but yeah, there's a few songs like on previous albums that I'm just not a fan of playing live. Like they don't get like the crowd going or whatever, or something like that. I like playing like the stuff that just gets the crowd going, just straight.
But that's the kind of thing is, like, realistically, a lot of the time, whenever you can think of like an amazing cinematic intro, and there's some amazing intros in the new album, it's like sometimes it's hard to translate that on the stage unless you're in that a bigger venue where you've got your own lights and all that kind of stuff. You're nearly imagining it, and the reality sometimes can be like, I'm trying to do a clean guitar part, and there's like a load of people being all like, "Hail the goat!" really loudly at you or something.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like I said, we've got 4 that we're gonna try, and then we'll probably get most of them done at some point. But it's basically just kind of experimenting to see what people react to, what people don't want to see live, what will work live, what's doable live. Like if like with the translating the production and stuff to the live setting with just the 2 guitars and stuff. And it's
going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun to try it anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fun learning like new songs again as a band.
So I'm going to play one, and it's the opening track, and I'm going to leave it to you, James, to pronounce it.
So the Nuckelavee.
Okay, the Nuckelavee. Is there any meaning behind that before I play it?
Yeah, so it's an Orcadian legend of a creature, like a skinless horse type creature with like a rider attached to its back.
Okay.
Causes plague, death. Just not a nice thing. But yeah.
Yeah, and the music represents it too, man. It's not a nice thing. Okay, here it is. So good. It's just, again, you're saying Megadeth there. I'm saying early Metallica as well.
That was that solo, that second solo straight out of Megadeth. That's a Dave Mustaine solo, that one. I
love it, man. I love it. It's a great opening track, man, and it sets the scene. I'm delighted actually you stuck with this whole, I suppose, the mysterious side of it, the traditional side of these, I suppose, mythical characters, and exploring that route rather than going down the serious route, talking about personal tragedy or, you know, personal feelings.
I'm
so
not very good with that.
Yeah, is there a team running through it anyway, James, or is it just still?
Yeah, so it's, I mean, not a concept. Like, I mean, the whole thing is based on Scotland. So every song is a Scottish, has some Scottish influence.
Nice.
So yeah, it's like folklore, legends, folklore, historical events kind of stuff. Every song's kind of got that. So there's like a theme that links everything together, which I thought was cool. Then you've got the bagpipes as well, which I thought on the title track. So it's kind of, I tried to make it a bit, I guess it's a bit personal as well, just because it's like the Scottish theme with all that kind of elements on it. But I thought it was cool to do something a bit different. I mean, I still love writing all these ridiculous Satan over the top lyrics, but and I mean, you still got elements of that with like titles like Goat Vomit Nightmare and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought it was cool to do something a bit different. See how that worked.
The Hissing Marshes as well, great title, and then the bass intro, it's fucking classic.
I was going to say to you, James, do you like? Obviously, you must find location to be a big influence, man. Like, you know, living in the Highlands, like, was that part of the reason you moved, like, from the city, or?
At first, I didn't really think I was kind of I've never really been influenced by like location and stuff, but I think moving to the Highlands, I moved because my girlfriend got a job up here, and I just moved here, and that did kind of influence it in the end. Like, I kind of became more interested in like this Scottish history, like looking at like Scottish legends and all that kind of stuff, and like being surrounded by like the Highlands and the mountains and stuff. It's kind of, it did kind of. It's
a great well to draw on, man.
Yeah, so it did end up influencing it in the end, which I didn't think it would, because I've never really been influenced by that kind of stuff. I've usually just kind of play. But
No more than Ireland, man. There's just so much history, folklore, and castles and everything around us that sadly are just falling to ruin, and there doesn't seem to be much of an effort to preserve them only.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're doing that in song, no matter what, it'd be traditional music, folk music, heavy metal, man, it's great that you're still giving a big fucking shout out to your tradition, where you're from. And as I said, you've Hellripper Scotland on it, man. You're repping a country there.
I mean, it's kind of, like I say, it's kind of putting myself into the music again, instead of just being another band. It's like, because I guess it helps as well, just because it is a solo project, I can kind of,
true.
It becomes a more personal thing, rather than, I guess maybe it's a bit more difficult if there's more people involved. I don't know, unless you've got similar backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it was just something different to try. I enjoyed learning about stuff, because there was a lot of stuff that I'd never heard of and stuff. It made me research a bunch of stuff and look at all this.
Fans love that, man, don't they, Joe?
Totally, man.
If you're bringing a fan on an adventure, like
a huge deal as well, especially for a lot of people in the 70s got into stuff like Lord of the Rings because of bands like Led Zeppelin,
stuff, man.
About them. So it's like there is like a responsibility, like where some of the legends, things like that you're talking about, there could only be maybe like 10 or 20,000 people who currently know about that in Scotland, and there's going to be 10 or 20,000 people at least more, now in a couple of months. So like that's the cool thing about writing lyrics about either historical or stuff of that nature, or like you guys have songs based on like Hammer horror type movies, or that sort of stuff as well. So it's, as long as you're able to have a broad variety of stuff that you can write at, you're never going to be pigeonholed into being like you're a black thrash band and you have to write about this all the time.
That was like a thing I wanted to do like early on as well. I want to kind of make it that Hellripper could kind of do anything within that kind of sphere. I didn't want to just be like like a straightforward like punk. I didn't want to be straightforward speed metal. stuff like that. So I like to have like the two things. So if I write a straightforward speed metal punk song, like 1 minute punk song, people will be like, okay, that's sounds like Hellripper. And then if I write a 7-minute Bathory slow song with bagpipes, it can also sound, you can also say, okay, that's Hellripper. Like it's not, yeah.
Is Coulson Bathory an influence, man? Like, you know, even in terms of whenever you set up the band as a solo project, were you influenced by him or that whole ideal or what?
Yeah, so the first Bathory album and like the early compilation tracks, because I mean it's kind of just like Motorhead. It just like it's kind of it's like black thrash. It's like the original kind of black thrash. But yeah, over the like listening to writing this album, I was listening to a lot of new stuff and different stuff as well that crept its way in there. And I really got into a few of the later Bathory ones, like the Twilight of the Gods and stuff by Bathory that I never really given much of a listen to before. Like I was always into like the black thrash fast Bathory. But yeah, I was listening to a whole bunch of different stuff over the writing, and I got into that, and that kind of influenced. But yeah, Black Bathory being a one-man band definitely at the start helped as well. Like, a lot of the bands I was getting into would be like Bathory, Midnight, Dark Throne, Toxic Holocaust. And it was like when realizing like, oh, Toxic Holocaust is a one-man band, like he does everything himself. Dark Throne, they record everything themselves, or sometimes they do. I'm not sure if it's all the time, but Midnight again, mostly himself, and so yeah, that kind of just gave me the idea that you can do it yourself. So I was always kind of under the impression like you've got to have a band, you need to go to a studio, and all that. So, and luckily, I guess the kind of music that we play, like the black thrash, black speed, punk, all that shit, you don't need the best production. Like you don't need to sound like 100% perfect and stuff. So that lends itself well to someone just learning how to do stuff.
And there's a big audience for it, James. There's such a big audience for it out there, especially in festivals. I mean, that's what I want.
I think generally, like, you know, Midnight are out supporting Merciful Fate and Creator. Like, I think it could easily be you guys in a year or two, you know?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hope so. That'd be the dream, man. But yeah, Midnight are killing it.
You're sharing a stage with them actually next year, aren't you?
At Pitfest, I believe. Is it Pitfest?
Pitfest, yes.
Yeah, we played there actually. We were supposed to play with Hellripper at it, and I think you guys had like, it was, you know, whenever Ryanair were cancelling a bunch of flights, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, we had a bunch of problems with like flights and all that stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, we had to cancel.
It's good fun though. Like, you know, it's like literally on a golf course. Like they've set up a couple of big, huge tents, and it was like us and like a Discharge and Cryptic Slaughter and stuff. So it was really cool.
I've seen all the videos and stuff like that. It looks like an amazing time. I wish we were there last time as well. And
where is it?
Could have joined you in that show before as well. Because you did a show the night before, I think, in Tilburg.
Yes, in Little Devil and Tilburg or whatever. Look, you know.
Yeah,
where is Pitfest, lads?
It's in Netherlands.
Oh, yeah, it's like it's in the north of where's it? Northern Netherlands, somewhere up near like where did they used to hold Aardschokdag Zwoli up there, Zwol or whatever it's called. Anyway. But it's a cool place, and you get to stay in the golf house and then wander around, get stoned on the golf course. It's pretty good.
Wouldn't doubt you, man. There's other festivals next year. You're on Obscure Extreme, is it?
Obscene Extreme, yeah, man.
Obscene Extreme, yeah.
Yeah.
That's in Czech Republic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, like, I haven't been there, but I've watched a whole bunch of videos, like a lot of sets from there, and it looks like an absolutely amazing.
I'm wondering, is that anything to do with the brutal assault?
I don't think so. I think it's like a grindcore festival, but I think primarily grindcore.
Okay.
But they always get like our kind of bands and stuff. Like I know they've had like Evil Invaders and Butcher and stuff. I think Butcher, yeah. And they had Toxic Holocaust and stuff play there a couple of years ago. And Sodom and stuff. But yeah, I think there's like the day we're playing, I think it's like an old school metal day. So it's just a bunch of like speed metal and so like Vulture and that.
Brilliant.
So that's cool. But yeah, we've got a bunch of festivals. I don't know. I would need to check. I can't remember what's been announced and what hasn't been announced yet.
FNR is another one that you're.
Oh yeah, that's
Welcome to Hell.
Welcome to Hell. That's with Enforcer and Venom Inc. Vulture again. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's going to be cool getting out to kind of. This will be the first time we've really promoted an album.
I suppose, yeah, it's true.
On tour. Because in 2017, when we released Coagulating Darkness, I think we'd done 3 shows that whole year.
My God. Yeah.
And I think 2 of them were in Aberdeen, just like kind of local shows. So we never really promoted that album. And then, yeah, the last album we never really got to. The Gama Bomb tour that we did was our support tour. And that was almost 2 years after the album came out. So,
so 2023 is going to be big, man, for you, hopefully tour-wise.
Yeah, we've got a few things. Mainly in the summer, I think. I can't remember exactly what's been confirmed and what's been just in talks and stuff yet. So, other than what's been announced.
The kind of situation, man, isn't it? That like the further away the gig is from your front door, the longer it is to get confirmed and get sorted out. So it's,
I know.
Whenever it involves flying or doing anything like that, you just have to believe it whenever you get the ticket. Yeah,
it's strange to actually like be booking shows again, like getting back into that after the pandemic, like having nothing happen on that side of stuff, and then.
Where are you looking to launch the album from, James?
So I think we're doing a show in Glasgow.
Okay.
But that'll be, I think that's the week before the album comes out. So it's kind of like I guess, kind of exclusive type thing. We're going to be playing a bunch of new stuff. We'll have stuff on sale there.
Yeah. There's flights from Cork to Glasgow, man. So I might be able one of those trips.
I hope over. Like Joe was saying, I hope we get to Ireland at some point. It just depends on everyone's availability and work.
I'd rather fucking go and see you rather than wait any longer at this stage. Put it that way.
It's everyone. It's just everything, like the availability and work schedules, and
of course,
getting that's the part of the live band that I don't miss in the being a solo project. Like I can do everything at my own pace whenever I'm free, whenever I'm ready. But getting like 4 guys together and all that kind of stuff is a bit more work and a bit more. But yeah.
Okay. Listen, man, just thanks again for coming on the show, James. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me, man. It was fun.
Yeah, always is. And best of luck with the new album, Warlocks Grim and Withered Hags. It's coming out in February. You've heard wonder, is it an exclusive track off it? Maybe. Who knows when it comes out?
Yeah, whenever this is out and whenever the track's out, I've got no idea. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, be cool. Joe, thanks again, man, for joining us.
Great to see you, lads.
Yeah. Great to speak to you again, Joe.
Yeah, and hopefully there might be a Gama Bomb and Hellripper tour coming to your town in 2023/2024. Who knows? I'm looking forward to the metal gods.
I'm looking forward to the new Gama Bomb album as well. Has Philly finished the recording?
No, we're still beavering away down in our old man zone,
Yeah,
but we're getting there and stuff. We've got some cool special guests and stuff we're going to have on this record.
Oh, nice.
So
you're going to have to come on the show, Joe.
Yeah, we'll get some.
Hopefully, we'll do it live, man. We'll do it live. I'll come up to you.
Yeah, you know what? At the minute, man, we're just trying to get the record done, and we're doing like a hometown gig, like a cancer research fundraiser show or whatever in Uri.
Oh, I saw that.
We'll do some festivals and stuff next year before the record comes out. But hopefully, we'll have some news soon. But as I said, would totally love to try and do something like that with Hellripper. I'd love to, go and do some places like Cork and stuff like that, or Derry that you just can't really get to unless you've got a couple of bands together,
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be ace, man. Yeah. Like I said, when we were on tour, I was hoping to come over and see you guys for, I think it was 2 shows or something in Ireland, but I got COVID right beforehand. No, it was for the the festival. The
one up in Derry, was it?
Yeah, the one with midnight and stuff.
That's what's his name?
Frost and Fire.
Frost and Fireland.
Yeah. I was planning to see midnight like the day before, and then I was going to come over to Ireland and go to and see Gama Bomb and midnight and all that. And I got COVID the day before the midnight show, so I never got to see anything that week. I was
a week of sitting in bed. We've all been there, unfortunately, man, haven't we?
Awful, man.
Okay. Right, let me wrap it up. Thanks again, James. Thanks again, Joe. Crucially, support your local metal scene.